Alright, we're gonna get straight into it. Today we got CEO of Mafia Management.
Oh my god.
We got OG Bree, aka Djbrimafia, and the creator of the For the DMV, and a dope artist you should know. You know, you gotta check her out. This is an honor. What's going on?
Not much, man. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
This is a vibe. This is a big vibe. I feel like I'm at home. Weed and tequila.
Perfect. Shout out to La Boca.
Shout out, no, definitely. Big shout out to La Boca. Tequila's amazing.
Alright, so I'm gonna start off with, generals. So tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm originally from Dover, Delaware. Oh, I didn't mean to hit my mic. I'm sorry. You guys probably heard that. Sorry. But yeah, I'm from Dover, Delaware. I've been in the DMV since 2015. A lot of people don't know, like, I have hella family here. Like, my grandparents have been living here for forever. And my aunts are living in DC since I was like 8. So I've literally been frequenting like Delaware and Maryland and DC like all my life. My grandparents stay in Lake Arbor, PG. So that's like a place that I used to go to all the time, like every holiday, whatever. But that's why I came here after school, went to school in North Carolina. That's where I was born. But I've been in Delaware from like 4 to 18, came out to the DMV when I was like 22. So yeah, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. So I want to get straight into your name. So how did you come up with the name Djbrimafia?
So it's actually crazy because my homeboy, DJ Erratic, his name's James. He actually came up with his name for my homegirls and I in school. We were called the Mafia because like it was me and like 6 other girls. We was like big group. We would literally go everywhere, do everything together. And he's like, yo, every time y'all pull up, y'all so deep, y'all the Mafia. So I kind of took that like moniker and turned it into Djbrimafia because I was already OG Bree. That's like the name my homegirls gave me within that clique because I was just like the one like been there, done that, kind of like spitting game. So that's where Djbrimafia comes from. It's an extension of OG Bree and an extension of La Mafia.
Okay. That's dope. So I know you moved around a lot, it seems. So I wanted to say like, I want you to tell us what aspects of your childhood inspired you to like pursue music.
So my dad like sings and he dances.
Okay.
And then my mom, like, she's not the best when it comes to like rhythm, but she has good taste in music. So I would say that like both of those things incorporated, just like I was in chorus, I was in dance troupe. I was like listening to music pretty early. And then my uncle, I think he's like 12 years older than me maybe. He started to DJ in college. And at that time I was like 10 and I had a computer. He was like, yo, like if you let me use your computer, like I'll teach you how to use LimeWire, like burn CDs and shit. So that was like 7th grade maybe. And I was burning CDs and selling them in school. So that's how it really started. And then he was like a poppin' DJ at that point when I was in high school. So I was like heavy on MySpace and I would promote his parties in my MySpace blog and just be like, yo, pop up here, pop up there. And he would DJ all over Delaware. Delaware's small as shit. And then from there, I was super heavy in the blog era, just underground music, like listening to LimeWire that just tapped me into like a whole nother world of music. And and that kind of stemmed like my whole music taste and everything. Like my favorite artists are from that like era of music.
So you could say like moving around had a lot of, like, did it impact you? Like, did it help you?
I think like moving around, not so much just because accessibility. Mm-hmm. Like, and then like, okay, my mom is like a military kid, so she's moved all over. So it's not like she's like, I fuck with Southern music, I fuck with Northern music, I fuck with West Coast music. Like, she's kind of really fuck with everything. I feel like for me too, like I've never had like a set genre that I stuck to because it was like the thing or like that was like the style that was popular. So I feel like because she kind of was bouncing around, I wasn't like, had to have that set, genre that I would fuck with.
So in 2015, your senior year, you decided to drop out and go full-time with DJ. What made you make that decision?
I went to South by Southwest in Texas.
Okay.
for spring break. It was like during the same week as my spring break. I went there and probably saw like 2 female DJs maybe. And I was like, damn, like, they're okay. But I just feel like my taste in music, like, we could play some Currency. Like, it's so underground out here. There's so many artists like we could put on. So I was like, I should take the DJ thing serious. Because in school, I thought about it. Like, I was going to people's parties just on YouTube DJing. And people were like, what is this? What is that? And I'm like, yo, this is this. You can find it on SoundCloud. Like, it's your fire. So that's what I was doing originally. And then that moment in Texas, it just clicked, like, do it seriously. And I, like, dropped out of school. As soon as I got back from Texas, I quit my job and just, like, did that shit full blown.
What's up? So have you ever regretted that decision?
No, absolutely not. I feel like with school, there were things that I like thought I was invested in and I thought that would work out. Like I originally was a it wasn't really sports management, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to manage basketball players. But then it was like sports administration. So they teach you more so like the business side, like, but then kinesiology and like physical therapy side. It was kind of weird. I was learning like a bunch of things that I didn't want to learn. Then at Elizabeth City, I was majoring graphic design, which I enjoy doing, but the assignments and the shit that they had us doing, I just wasn't fucking with it. So I wasn't really like inspired or motivated. But like now, outside of school, like even though I definitely appreciate the knowledge that I gained, but I do feel as though like I had to go through that to understand that probably wouldn't have been the best lane for me. And I'm kind of glad that I did my own thing with what I know.
So, I want you to tell us, like, what are some artists that you have worked with so far in your career?
Artists that I work with locally, like, just
give us, keep it, like, 6, 3 local and 3 from outside.
Okay. So, I went on a tour, and this particular artist, his name is Master Mold. He went with me everywhere on this tour that we were on for Only Vibes. So we were in New York, we went to Cali, went to LA, we went to Atlanta, we went to Philly, and then we did a couple shows in College Park. So that's definitely one artist. 2, Trilla K, who I DJ with, like my creative partner with Djbrimafia. We curate shows together. I've done so many things with her. And who else would I say artist-wise here that I work with a lot? Does it have to be music-wise or can it just be anything? And then Bree from Opaline, she has an event that she curates, usually like the first, I'm not sure what date it is, but like the first day of each month. And she curates her show Opaline, and that has kind of introduced me to like all other artists. It's like a phenomenal outlet. And then outside of locally, artists that I have worked with, I DJ for a group called Cypher Click back in Delaware. I used to sing with them like a long time ago in high school, but now I just DJ for them. And they actually have like features with Mikey Rocks, Sir Michael Rocks, some cool kids. They've opened up for Eric B. and Rakim. Like, they've done so many things, performed at Firefly, so I definitely appreciate having that like homegrown outlet. But them, definitely from Delaware. Who else outside of the DMV that I have worked with music-wise? I won't say that I've worked with him, but at this point I've opened up for Key. Fat Man Key. Key's based in Atlanta. Literally one of my favorite artists. And I won't say that I've worked with him, but I've had the honor of like opening up 2 shows, and that's one of my favorite artists. Like, he is so dope. So hopefully if that opportunity comes again where it could be a 3rd time, I would definitely take it because fire. And let me think of one more outside of the DMV. I cannot think of anyone else outside, but just anybody. I'll just use this as like a big shout out. Anybody that I featured in for the DMV, that's gonna be like my artists, like outside of all that, because that whole platform has introduced me to like over 200 artists that I like didn't know in person, literally off like social media engagement, sending me emails. And I think that alone should just be like highlighted, working with all those artists for real. So that'd be like the third, if that makes sense.
That's good.
If that makes sense.
So like, on that like being said, like with you having like so many mixes with more than multiple artists, like where's your creative process at when it comes to creating your music?
So what I've realized, just like being out and also doing just local shows, like there are just so many different styles and genres and just different attributes that people bring to the table in regards to the artistry here in the DMV. And I feel like instead of like putting everybody in a box and saying like, this is the DMV, like it should be like, no, like this is from the DMV, so is this, like so is this, like they're from this part, their part, this neighboring community is like, that's the main thing. So like when I do listen to the music, it's never like, oh, this is from DC, you know, or this is from Baltimore. It's literally what sounds good, like, or what's catchy, or what I think like deserves to have like a highlight. Or how I was originally doing at first before the DMV, I wasn't even listening to the music. So people would send me emails, I would download the music, put it in a folder, take that folder, put it into the application that I use to DJ, Serato, analyze the songs, and I would pick one song that I had already heard. Maybe somebody performed it and I liked it, or I heard it on Instagram or whatever, and I would play that one song, press record, go through the list of songs that I just put in there, listen to headphones, and just see what transition and what sounded good. So that's how I was originally doing it. And I was just like, wow, this is actually amazing music. So I didn't have to sit there and plan and be like, what sounds good and what doesn't. It kind of just worked out. Like, that shit is amazing. Like, the talent out here is phenomenal, so.
That's good, that's good. And like, are you constantly finding new talent? Like, do people just randomly send you music now?
All the time. Like, sometimes I do get overwhelmed. Like, when people just say, like, yo, can you listen to this? Can you review it? Because at first I was never doing that.
Right.
And I feel like even if I were to say, like, it's amazing, or if I were to critique it, it doesn't take anything away from the music. And I don't ever want my opinion to alter people's art and be like, whoa, Djbrimafia said this, that, and the third. Like, I'll definitely give good insight, but I don't want to be known for doing that, and I don't want to make that an obligation for myself. So I just feel like that, you know, that gets in the way, but I just think that anything that, I feel like you can tell the difference between people that like thoroughly invest in the music and people that just do it for fun.
Right.
Or some people that do it for fun and are actually talented and should take it a little bit more serious. And I just feel like those are attributes that you think about before like playing music and breaking music. So, but yeah, like, it's just all good. Like, it's so good.
That's good, that's good. All right, so I wanna touch back, because you said like when you went to that festival, you only saw 2 female DJs.
Mm-hmm.
So like from that point to where you are now, like have you like seen like the reason like why there could be like, I want to say, the lack of female DJs in the industry?
I feel like, you know, the music industry is like a male-dominant industry, and just even like the situation with Olivia Dope and Joe Budden podcast, like fairly recently, how she was expressing, you know, a culture at work that didn't feel safe and was sexual in nature. So I feel like, you know, that is definitely something that women think about in this business, is that it is male-dominated. There are circumstances, or there may be certain situations where that may happen that can be intimidating. So but I feel like the more women who do occupy these spaces with men and say, hey, we're creating safe spaces, they'll be more willing to do it. And I think that's what I'm seeing now, like, especially in the DMV, and I've always seen it. There's been a good variety of DJs, femme, women, DJs in the DMV that are amazing. So I feel like now we definitely make it a thing to have safe spaces. But at first, yeah, I think that maybe women were intimidated by that. And just also to, you want to be around like-minded women. So like more women artists, like it all comes into play. So but I think that would be like the main thing that would stop us from really excelling. But like I said, the more spaces we create for each other, it won't be an issue for real.
So I want to talk a little bit about your platform, and I don't know, platform, your show, a dope artist for you on Creative Media Network.
So pretty much with a dope artist for you, that was Evan's idea. Evans actually recorded all professional audio for Trilla and I's first show at our studio in our house. And excuse me, he recorded all of that, and then after that he offered us this platform to be host of a show he called A Dope Artist for You, where we would pick, I think we all picked like 2 to 3 artists a piece, and then we all filmed in like the whole day, just had all the artists come perform everything in our house. So that was really his vision, and he asked Trilla and I to come on board. And with those artists, those were artists that like we felt like during the pandemic were really, you know, highlighting themselves and actually had content to kind of like, yo, if you tapped in, like, oh shit, they were doing this, oh shit, they were doing that, like, this is amazing. Phenomenal artists, and we're gonna do a second season. But that's how it came about. And what I expect from those artists, a lot of them are still actively, you know, doing stuff. And especially Chris Evans, he's been on Twitter going crazy with promo. And the views have been pretty good on YouTube. So I think for them, just popularity, people getting a chance to see the interview, know them as artists, and then get to see them perform all within like 15 minutes, I think less than that. I think that's the main thing, is like exposure, but exposure with like, you know, you get to learn about the artists, you know, at the same time.
And I want to touch on, you said, talk about, you know, COVID and everything going on. So like, how did you stay, I want to say, keep the same level of work going?
All right, so the main thing was, you know, just seeing a lot of people that like worked for different companies and not being able to do the things that they were doing, you know, prior, and understanding that like, because you were under these certain establishments, or, you know, you don't really have full ownership of your content, you can only do this, you can only do that. So I think that was the main thing, in seeing that like, you know, having control and being able to consistently like put out content was like the main thing. And I just said, let me utilize my resources. Like, I have a partner and best friend that DJs, that's an artist. Have another partner that plays the guitars, producer, engineer, and I have another best friend, roommate, who does graphics, takes pictures. So if I'm not able to, you know, go out and DJ, what can I do with the resources that I have to keep all of our brands afloat? And can we still DJ? Can we still make music? Can we still take pictures? You know, have photo shoots, like things of that nature. So I think that was the main thing, in saying that like, we have a team, and because we have a team, we'll be able to like consistently go, and we don't have to rely on like another, you know, entity or anybody else over us that's controlling our content, and we could put it out how we want to, when we want to, as much as we want to. I think that was the main thing, you know, during COVID, was understanding that like, you really need to have ownership of your shit.
And is that like, having a team, is that really like how you balance, like, from managing, having to manage, you manage 2 artists, correct? Mm-hmm. And from DJing, and then your entrepreneur opportunities that you're taking upon yourself, like, is that team the main aspect of that helps you? Absolutely,
because they honestly give me the resources to do what I'm able to do. So I think like with Trilla and Static, like, they're both from the area. So Trilla's from DC, and Static is based out of Maryland. And I feel like me coming in from Delaware, and we just all bringing like our creative styles together, it's brought like all of the people in our inner circles and our friends like together. And it's created this like huge network of creatives and huge network of people that we work with. And then with Mark, it's like, he takes pictures, he does graphics, and we don't ever have to like go out the way. And if we need anything quick, it's like right there. And if I didn't have that team, I wouldn't be able to do the other things that I did. I think I literally shouted out, you know, Trill and Static on my Brews and Views page, like, you know, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff. It wasn't for their support, you know, and what they do, and everybody in the house. It's like one big like network, and just everybody contributing for each other to kind of like excel.
So explain to everybody, you mentioned it. So explain to everybody what you do with Brews and Views, and like what goes on there. So
with Brews and Views, it's an informative outlet that provides sponsorships for local creatives. It's a beer sponsorship pretty much. So I will ask you, you know, you give me just like, it depends, like literally I'll work with a budget, or if you want to have a certain beer, I'll let you know how much it's going to be in order to get that beer in bulk. When I do get it in bulk, I give it out to your guests for free. It's almost like an open bar, because it requires a donation, but that donation can be anything. So it could be merch, it could be money, it could be exchange of phone numbers, it could be an exchange of content. Like, as long as we are exchanging something in return, instead of, you know, just me handing you off a beer, that's the main thing. So with Brews and Views, that's what it does, and it explains, you know, the different styles of beers. Like, okay, this is why this beer of choice, like Brie from Opaline, who I mentioned earlier, she likes Stella Cedra. So usually every Opaline, I usually get Stella Cedra, and I explain to people it is a cider. It's not pronounced like that just because it's a Belgian beer, but it's a cider, and I just explain like it's Stella Artois. It's their cider version of their beer. It's called Stella Cedra. And, you know, letting them know where they can get it. It's not like seasonal. You should probably get it everywhere, how much it is, the alcohol level, what it tastes like before they do taste it. And so, yeah, that's what I've done with Brews and Views. And then on my page, I like, you know, go through my favorite beers and just let people know like where they're from, what kind of style they are, how it tastes. And I don't like to give reviews. I don't ever want to alter people's like opinions or like why they would or would not drink beer. So I just like try to be informative. That's why it's an informative and visual platform to influence beer culture. Definitely said it wrong the first time.
So are you trying to influence beer culture on more of the people like you, or like who's your main audience with that? Are you trying to push that towards?
Millennials of color. I know, like working with Miller Lite all the time. When I would go to work at our meetings, it's like, people are drinking less beer. And I'm just like, I just went out last night and had like 4 or 5 beers with the homies. Like, I don't understand what you guys are talking about. So I'm understanding that the reason that they say that is because nobody is studying like how much beer Black people are drinking, or especially Black people or people of color in metropolitan areas or areas like Baltimore, areas like the DMV. They're not really doing their research because they will understand that there is actually a big pool of people that enjoy drinking beer and definitely love local beer. But if they don't highlight it, how would they ever know? So it's not that people are drinking less beer; it's that they're drinking less of your beer because your beer is not advertising to Black people. Like Miller Lite doesn't make commercials that involve culture, music, community. I don't even know if they did some Black Lives Matter shit, you know, even if that were to count for anything, it's just that you don't really see the effort. So why should people drink Miller Lite? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or would you rather drink a beer that, like Soul Mega, which is one of 3 of the Black-owned breweries in DC, brand ambassador for them. Like, I'd rather drink that over anything else because it's Black-owned. It's a pale ale. It's like 5.5%. Like, so those are the main things when, you know, working within that industry and understanding that for real.
Okay, that's dope. Tell us, if any, like any difficulties you may have faced, whether it be like doing your DJing career so far, or maybe starting your management, getting it together. Like, just give us a couple, maybe just one example of a difficulty that you may have faced and how you overcame it and how it helped you, you know, to get where you are today.
The main difficulty here has been like me being an advocate for local music and saying that like I don't think things have to necessarily be hits. I think like, you know, certain DJs set the tone for how like music and content is supposed to be out here. And like for me, I'm just saying instead of like I said earlier, having this like one representation, like how about highlight all different like artists and genres and all these different styles of music. So I think like that's the main thing is like my disconnect from like the people that like are on the radio and have these bigger platforms and like who they choose to support versus, you know, trying to support more people than just one. And how I overcome that is just literally I've learned to not low-key not be as vocal. I won't say that I'll shut up, but like I'm just learning that like what I'm doing, like what I'm actually doing holds more weight and says way more than what I could say on Twitter, what I can get on live and rant about, because I'm actually out here doing shit and like been doing shit, pandemic and all. So I think like that's literally how I overcame it for the DMV, making the mixes, turning it into shows. Now it's about to be a festival. Now I'm about to have a venue. So that's like literally how I overcame like that whole ordeal. And just like not being from here too. Like that was the biggest thing. It's like you have so much to say about DMV music. Like, you're not from here, you're from Delaware. I know, but it's just like I care because it's so good. Like I say all the time, like it's great. So why would I not go as hard? And there isn't like there's community in Delaware, but it's not like how it is in the DMV, and it's not culture like how it is. You know, we have our small things, and I think like Delaware is a really good mixing pot or melting pot of Philly, New York, Jersey, Baltimore, a little bit of DMV, and a little bit of the South. It's because it's neighbors, all that shit, and the way people carry themselves in Delaware is similar to all of those different styles. So I feel like because we don't have a set culture, like go-go music, like the way people from Baltimore speak, the way people from DC speak, the way people from Maryland speak, like I think that's beautiful. Like there's just so many things that just say culture, say beauty, blackness that the DMV has that I didn't get in Delaware. And because I'm able to like live in it now and embrace it and listen to people that are from here and, you know, be a DJ and be an artist, I just have like such a higher respect for it. And yeah, like it's just beautiful.
Okay, so what advice, like saying all that, what advice could you give a young artist, or not even an artist, just even an entrepreneur, because we know you're both really?
I would say stay true to yourself, but you have to give in order to receive. So while staying true to yourself, you know, community, like I feel like my motto is local than global. And I pay homage to Delaware so much because I feel like I have enough people back home that still support me. Like this Bree from Delaware, she's always loved currency, she's always loved music, promoting parties, Uncle DJs. Like I feel like I have a village like home. And I'm able to go anywhere I want to because I have people that will back me up off of what I say and off of what I do, because I've always been doing it. So if you stay true to yourself and you stand your ground, and like I said in my post earlier, like tunnel vision, like a lot of people say that tunnel vision, you lose focus. Like that's when you're losing sight of something. But in actuality, you're just really focused on one main thing. And my one main thing is community. Like, and I won't let anything, you know, misguide me from that set goal. And I feel like having those set goals and reciprocate that energy, and you gotta put out, you give in, you give out. And so stay true to yourself, support those around you, and create a foundation. And don't ever try to fit a mold, or don't try to be cliquey or be with this person or be with that person. Like, you know, people will support you no matter how big, how small. And I think that a lot of people look at the bigger picture and they're like, I need 10,000 followers, I need 100,000 plays, like I need this, I need that. It's just like, no, bro, like say you're a real artist, right? And you make these 5 one-of-one paintings that you sell for $100, or you bid them. You got 25 people that follow you on Instagram or Twitter, and it's like 20 of them at least like your shit and say, yo, it's great, want to cop, want to buy. If you have at least 4 people that say that, and say you do that twice a week or 3 times a week, you're making $200 to $600 every week. It's like, you know, I just don't think that people should think so, like, I need this, I need that. Like, Nipsey did it. Like, Nipsey was selling $100 fucking albums and made thousands of dollars because people supported him. Was like, yo, physical copies of art. So, like, you know, don't discredit your art. Stay true to yourself. And, you know, the people will support you. There's so many people. Like, I just think that, like, not all of us is like one certain thing. Like, we all like a lot of shit. Like, and one thing somebody may not like, somebody will fucking love. And they'll be like, I will pay you whatever for that. Like, look at the Mona Lisa. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, it's a white woman. Like, just, I hope you can put like a screen grab like of Mona Lisa right here. That'd be funny if you could Photoshop it right there. Absolutely. It's just like, why the fuck would people going crazy over that? So.
I got you. So, tell us any project you got coming up and give out any last shout outs to anybody you want to shout out to.
So, Trilla K and I are getting ready to go on a tour. She wants to call it the PPP tour. We're going to be in Baltimore, Atlanta, LA. I'm sorry, Miami, and we're working on LA. And that's going to be mid-June to the end of July. And then for the DMV, it's coming back with a festival. Everybody keeps asking me if I'm still doing mixes. I'm still doing shows. I'm still doing shows, but everybody's doing shows now because shit is open, and I don't want to do the same shit everybody's doing. So we're going to throw a festival. So that's the next thing I'm doing, a 3-day festival. It's probably going to be at the beginning of August or mid-August, and it's literally going to feature any artist that was featured on For the DMV. I will make space for all 200 plus artists to perform within those 3 days. Like, that bitch will go all day. I don't give a fuck. But I feel like it's a way to make money. With Mafia Management, I think that how I'm gonna do this, and this is not even free game, like, I'm just gonna spill it because I be manifesting shit. How I'm doing this now is that I'm gonna manage artists monthly. And so I'm gonna throw shows every week. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have like 3 to 4 artists that I pay $1,000 just up front. Or just give them $500 up front and then $500 after the month. And I manage them, and they literally do shows with me anywhere that I go or anything that I curate or around a venue. They come perform. $1,000, and I literally alternate artists each month. So I hope that artists will be eager, you know, to work. Right, you know, I just feel like that's kind of like easy money at this point. Like, if you can't give 4 artists $500 off bucks, and artists that are actually dropping content, that have shit to perform, that have like videos, that like been doing shit, like, why not? Because, and if you do the shows, because they're dropping content and they have a following, no matter how small, you know, we're in Baltimore in the DMV, say they have 10 people, tickets are $20. Like, come on, like, this is just easy money right now. Like, I just think that that would be super cool. So that's the main thing with managing artists, is that's how I'm going to try to make artists get paid for shows. Like, no more getting paid chump change to perform or having curators or certain brands or platforms charge you to perform. And then we're doing a Dope Artist for You season 2. Anything else I have going on? Memorial Day weekend, all I gotta say is that shit's about to be lit. I'm probably spilling tea, but City Beach we're DJing on the 28th. And then the 29th, Bill Carl's official opening of his venue. And then the 30th, I think I have like a brunch to DJ maybe. And the 31st, I'm doing Crabs and Dab. It's a private event for Washington, like literally weed and crabs. I'm vegan, but if you fuck with crabs, pull up, because that shit's gonna be Lydiana. Yeah, so that's like our Memorial Day weekend, and I think after that, like June, I'm on Big Chills, just planning this tour. So
you're working,
trying to, you know, trying my best.
A lot of y'all ain't working like her, so it's the truth. It's the truth. You know it.
So, I be chilling.
Shout out to DJ Bree. Mafia coming through. Appreciate you. It was an honor.
Nah, thank you.
Highstyle Sundays.
Highstyle Sunday, shout out to y'all. This has been amazing. This is great. I poured my tequila, didn't even drink it, and like put my J out. So that's how you know the conversation was good, and then I'm fried. Cause
that's how we doing on Highstyle Sundays. Come on through.
Fire. Definitely fire.
13 and incarcerated. Business waste is a child, need no validation. You gon' die from the smoke. Cancer patient. All of a sudden, I'm in a
Djbrimafia.
just looking at you has made it begin. It's a crazy world, but